Previously on Genesis 7, everyone was fucking useless. And now, the continuation, where everyone will be fucking uselesser.
I've got faith of the heart. Go where my heart will take me. I've got faith to believe.
Isn't this exciting, our first two-parter? Truly the show's idea of storytelling has been turned upside down.
Well, this is fun.
Wouldn't go that far. The captain asked ground control if it's safe for them to investigate the Martian trenches. Ground control uses the satellites in orbit, of Mars I assume, to confirm, and they're free to go. Okay, why waste the money on making satellites for each planet in the solar system instead of just putting the wonder sensors on the ship itself? Unless the satellites are in orbit of Earth, which would just bring up more questions about this whole fucking thing.
Danton is installing a secondary power source in the little G that could power communications if we have any more trouble, just in case.
Yes, because the only thing in your ship that should have a backup power supply is the communications. That way, people can listen to you as you die as life support fades and put recordings out on the internet for people to laugh at. So they're talking about the very real possibility that there's a traitor at Genesis Command. They put two and two together and got TR8OR. I mean, they're right, but the baffling thing is that the boss is refusing to take even the prime suspects off duty.
Well, all we need to do is trust the Lord and wait for the mole to be exposed. Eventually he'll make a mistake.
He's made nothing but mistakes! You lot are just fucking morons!
Well, all we need to do is trust the Lord and wait for the mole to be exposed.
And that is why Hydra is going to one day take over Genesis Command and shoot you all in the back of the head. So the shuttle's about to be launched, but first, listen to this. Their audio's getting worse and worse. It's nearly as bad as mine.
Valles Marineris is the biggest canyon in the solar system.
Take that, Arizona!
Nearly 125 miles wide and 2,500 miles long.
So Dapper Dawn has welded a second seat into the shuttle to bring Priscilla with him to the surface of Mars as a birthday present. Of course, the extra oxygen consumption will either throw off the oxygenators or fuck with how much oxygen they have on board. And the shuttle will need to be calibrated for the extra weight. Brilliant work! And where did he get the extra chair from? Unless he had some spares in case he soils himself, which, given some of the near deaths he's had, I wouldn't be surprised about, but he doesn't do emotion. Like, ever. Plus, she allegedly already has a job on the ship, even if it's just reading the first paragraph from the Wikipedia article on each planet and setting up the captain's apologetics. I'm just saying there's a reason the Apollo astronauts would have got in trouble if they tried to sneak an extra person on the ship before launch. This is a sci-fi show, but Tron Legacy is the only person we've seen fly that thing, or anything like it, and he's always been alone. You'd think at the very least they'd clear this shit with the Earth base or give us some advance warning so she knows what the fuck to do in the shuttle. Hey, what does this button do? And that's not even going into what would happen if there's an emergency later on and her chair was bolted over the panel that Dubstep needs to access to save the ship. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. Anyway, on the way down to the planet, we get yet more Creationist apologetics. Yay! This time it's about water on Mars.
You may need to brace yourselves for this, but for decades, evolutionary scientists, the same ones who still scoff at the idea of a global flood on Earth, believed that Mars was mostly covered by water in the past.
Hold on. They consider erosion on Mars to be caused by flowing water when there isn't even a drop of liquid water down there?
I know this was made a few years ago, but it's set in 2019 and I feel like being a dick. Flowing water on fucking Mars found. And if you're going to try and argue for a global flood, then you should talk to the civilizations that were going on while your flood allegedly happened and didn't fucking notice. Weirdly, the show seems to accept that Mars had a fuckload of water, which has since mostly dried up, but is more pissed off that Carl Sagan-y real science doesn't accept a global flood on Earth with a fuckload of water that has since mostly dried up.
Hold on. They consider erosion on Mars to be caused by flowing water when there isn't even a drop of liquid water down there? And refuse to believe that the Earth was flooded even though it's mostly covered with water?
Yes, seriously, I'm not making this up.
The show doesn't seem to understand that Earth and Mars aren't exactly the same fucking planet, and if something happens on one, it doesn't mean that it'll happen on the other. Which is weird, because for 2 episodes running, they've insulted people for searching for evidence that Mars might have had life. Because Earth is special and clearly nothing like Mars.
It's hard to prove a theory when you don't have any evidence to help you.
I agree, but it hasn't stopped creationists trying. Actually, no, that was mean. Lack of evidence hasn't stopped creationists from creating hypotheses that don't even begin to stand up to scientific scrutiny and will never come close to becoming theories. So they land, and this canyon is meant to be 7 kilometers deep. Huh. And they're drilling for soil samples.
Observe, Priscilla, as our tungsten carbide drill bites into the Martian surface. Just don't get it stuck. Yeah, I'll try to avoid that. But it's not likely to happen. Judging by how fast the drill is digging, this must be very soft soil.
Judging by the ship and the size of the drill, it didn't even touch the fucking soil before he finished that sentence. I wonder what his reading says. Ooh, this soil is gaseous today. So then they start on the Big Bang Theory. Alas, not the shit one.
How can anyone believe that all the matter in the universe exploded out of one single speck?
They don't. It wasn't an explosion. That's a misunderstanding that has its roots in the non-religious scientist who insulted the theory when it was first put forth by a fucking Christian. Even the name, The Big Bang, was an insult.
Well, some are unwilling to accept that God exists because he would hold them accountable for their actions. They would prefer no higher authority.
So they come up with theories to try to explain away God?
Right, no matter how strange or unbelievable, they need those theories to defend their denial of God's existence.
Don't look at me like that.
Like what?
Like I'm nuts!
They need those theories to defend their denial of God's existence.
The Big Bang Theory was come up with by a priest. A Christian priest. And as a Christian priest, he outranks you. I know you guys need the world to be 6,000 years old because you're worried that Bishop Usher will smack you with his number cock if you don't. But really, the fact that the universe has a scientifically recognized beginning would be the perfect place to try and stick God. It's where the smarter apologetics do try to stick God.
Science isn't about origins, it's about what we can observe and experiment with now.
Then why are you trying to claim that creationism is science? You can't observe God creating everything in 6 days, so shut the fuck up about it! Anyway, they're going on a hike on the Martian surface as another birthday present for Priscilla.
So we're going to walk on the surface? Has anyone ever done that?
Well, there was a twat in a pinstripe suit, some cannon fodder, a water zombie or two, and a really fucking annoying robot, but apart from that, nah.
Well, that's an amazing birthday present. Thank you both.
Take my earlier list about why the surprise presents are stupid and add hiding spacesuits appropriate for walking on Mars and the shuttle to it.
Is that music?
Long story.
Oh, fucking hell, what happened to your faces? They look all stretched and weird. It's like a missing scene from where the dead gonna die. Ugh. You'd think that spacesuits will be updated in the more than 120 years since Armstrong walked on the moon, but you forget that creationism hasn't updated its theories in more than 120 years either. The biggest difference between the two is the Armstrong spacesuit was top of the line when it was created, and creationist theories were never even theories by scientific standard. Now, someone's going to be annoyed about that, but remember that in science, theory does not merely mean shit you came up with to explain other shit. Theory is really hard to attain. Anyway, on the way back to the ship, they take the chance to point out the Viking Mars lander from 1976.
We should be able to see it soon, just ahead and to our right. There it is.
Don't look at it, it's affiliated with Carl Sagan and therefore evil according to episode 1! So on the way up, the captain tells them there's been more problems because of sabotage, so the docking needs to be done manually. They've managed to narrow the possible culprits down to 7 people, none of whom have been arrested, questioned, or given some kind of leave. And they aren't meant to bring the ship home, even though it's fucking riddled with deliberate attempts to kill them. At times like this, I wonder if the traitor is going to be Admiral, more invested in his part, Bruce Willis. I love how the ship rights itself after the upside-down docking, because, you know, up doesn't exist in space, and they're worried the audience won't know that. And when I say love, I meant mock.
By the way, Captain, great job on the docking.
Thank you, but you can just thank the Lord that he guided us through it so safely.
Their next mission will take them to my favourite planet, Jupiter. So I'm going to set my tongue to acidic. Any mouth burns I get will be fucking worth it.
Yes, I've been looking forward to Jupiter. I want to know what's going on in that great red spot.
It's a giant fucking storm, shithead. That was easy. Now, round up of the episode. This was Genesis 7. What are you fucking expecting? The barely existent saboteur plot keeps plodding along. They keep insulting science by trying to stand in the same room as it. And the actors aren't. That was Genesis 7, and I am so fucking sorry.